Once upon a time, a sword was sent from the stars, made to destroy and slay everything. Only the wisest could wield it. That sword's name was the Blade of Justice. Hello everyone, my name is Mosk, and you may or may not know me either from the level Blade of Justice or from me being Egyptian. I've beaten Edge of Destiny, and for this video I've remade the script at least 5 times by now, but it's worth it for what you're about to see. I beat Edge of Destiny over 4 months ago now, and a lot of stuff have happened since then, and the video is the truth behind my journey and thoughts that I have for Edge of Destiny and Blade of Justice. This video is going to be narrative, which is probably the best way I could make it. I'm going to assume you know about Blade of Justice and Edge of Destiny because they are very famous extreme demons, and if not, there are many good videos on the subject. Now let's get started with how I discovered them. Back in 2024, during my time of beating Shardscapes, I found the levels Blade of Justice and Edge of Destiny. Think I saw Blade of Justice from Siki and EOD from Popoff. Around the time Siki was streaming Blade of Justice, and the streams were so funny low-key. I saw the level Siki was playing, but it was so interesting. The blue theme was nice, the name felt a bit generic though, but the gameplay looked intimidating, and I loved the song so much. Around the same time, Popoff would beat Edge of Destiny, and it was Popoff's videos that I got to see what EOD looked like fully on LDM, but my next point still stands. I finally saw how astonishing the level was, especially with some parts like the dropship and Gluck's part on full detail later. The more I looked at the level, the more I thought to myself, man, I wish I was good enough to beat this. However, I wasn't, and I was instead playing an extreme demon called Lotus Flower. Much easier, yeah, but I didn't enjoy that level that much. I wanted to try out Edge of Destiny a bit, especially since I've beaten some list demons, and it took me over 1,000 attempts to beat EOD in practice mode. Not as well as that, 600 to beat Blade of Justice in practice mode. At that time, I mostly played timing extremes or easy levels, and even playing Bloodbath was difficult for me. Then I thought maybe I'd just keep playing Lotus Flower. It would be Egypt's hardest, but a harder level was beaten. So my motivation for Lotus Flower was basically killed, and that was when I decided on November 1st, 2024, I would start grinding Edge of Destiny. Now, to mention, during the whole journey of me playing the level, I would mainly publish screenshots of progress on Twitter, mainly because I struggled very much to record on PC, unlike how I do things now. So that's why you probably won't see much good footage from me. But aside from that, for my actual progress, I started out with 13% and basically it. I didn't even beat Blade of Justice yet. I struggled on both levels severely. I couldn't even do the ending. I was also playing levels without CPF. Slowly, however, I was learning each thing bit by bit. But also, for some reason, I was playing EOD more than Blade of Justice, which is kinda weird. I felt like if I play the harder version, maybe that will give me a head start on the easier version. But when I entered December, indeed, playing Blade of Justice felt like a walk in the park. I was somewhat learning Blade of Justice quickly, but I was getting unlucky. For my first ever time of me beating Blade of Justice, the duel was tricky, and I would be getting past the beginning consistently, but I would die way too many times to the second half. I didn't have the click patterns that I have today, but eventually, on Christmas 2024, I beat Blade of Justice. In the meantime, though, I was still struggling massively with Edge of Destiny, and I couldn't even pass a straight fly without dying 9,000 times to it. But I don't know when I somehow eventually mastered it. After really committing to playing Edge of Destiny, and announcing things officially, a player reached out to me and advised me not to go to the level at all. I was told that the level was very frustrating to play from zero, which is kind of true. But honestly, I didn't care. I already beat nerve lacking levels like Congregation, which I believed helped my nerves. So I wasn't scared in the time being. But at the same time, I was still wondering how could someone pass this gameplay in 2 minutes? Anyway, throughout January and February, I'd play the level on and off, doing as much as I can, and I finally tackled the wave, passed the cube, realized that the duel is actually really easy, and to make the dropship more bearable, I started using CBF. Suddenly, I beat the level in 60 practice attempts, got the 99.6% no clip accuracy, and got 30% all of that just in February. Mom, Dad, ib, 30%. I'd also repeat Blade of Justice 2 more times that month. But during some March and April, I would focus on university and other games where I wouldn't be playing Edge of Destiny that much. During that time also, an Iraqi would notice my progress with this level and would be cheering on me a lot because EOD would be such a massive jump from Lyceum, which was Egypt's foremost hardest at the time. And I believe that would increase my motivation for playing the level further. And in that time also, I would learn of Form, who was purely jumping from Blade of Justice to Edge of Destiny. I have a lot to say about him, but I'll leave that for later. Then, throughout April to July, my main progress would be in the 30s on EOD and only 61 to 100, CFO to 100. For some reason, people always say that 36 to 100 is easier than the first half, but that wasn't the case for me at all. The thing is, the entire level is hyper buffed. It's like 36 to 100. First of all, the cube is the hardest part of the level. And even then, if you get to the ending and pass CFO and the swing and whatnot, you would still have to pass 85. And then the ship at the end. I died there so many times. And again, that would just drag on for like 3 months until the fateful day. It seemed bleak, but on July 28, 2025, I had just fluked 61 to 100. It wasn't a duel to 100. It wasn't a cube to 100. It was 29 to 100. My second best fluke ever. Unfortunately, because I didn't record much from zero, this run was never recorded, and it was just done in silence. But I was going viral on Twitter. However, I came back to not playing the level that much because of a family visit. But still, on August 10, 2025, by the end of summer break for me, I would finally get list percent of 76. Oh my god! I was very happy because list points, yay! But also Point You Create would recognize that I have progress on this level. Since so much happened at once, I interacted with more players, which motivated me to play the level more. But into grind, I was still struggling very much. I would play more from zero, and also try to get good no-clip runs, and I'd be posting runs each day that I had of the level, but I would experience burnout every now and then and play more on and off heavily. In the meantime, as well, I would start playing the level Echoes of Neon, an awesomely underrated level, by the way. But I would also get unlucky on that and die at 290 there. Then Nethermind beat Edge of Destiny. I felt really hopeful because the last time Nethermind beat a very difficult level, two other grinders beat it very soon after. So I know I was feeling superstitious, but after Nethermind beating EOD, I thought that I and Form would beat it very soon as well. However, Locks would get a very devastating death at 61, dying to an auto because of weird slopes, and then getting 61 to 100 after, essentially beating the level without beating it. And after me playing on and off for a couple of months and starting college again, on October 11, 2025, I got 18 to 100. Basically, a ship to 100. So I felt very confident I could beat the level soon, um, but not hopeful enough yet because the experience could vary very widely. So day by day, I would set up my recording and play from zero. Sometimes I would do amazing, getting 79. Okay, it's a new best. I don't know, my hand felt like my finger felt, I guess, constant, I guess, on the button, but like, yeah, I call this section, if I die to it, the Egyptian student didn't build the pyramids, because it looks triangular, and if I do pass it, then I call the section Egyptians built the pyramids. So that's a little trivia for you, since I got a run, so I can just stop and then record again. And other times, terribly, not even getting to the UFO once. I knew getting 100 would probably be much harder than 18 to 100, but I was getting frustrated because throughout all the time I've been playing the level, I was slowly becoming very consistent and not at the same time for some reason. I calculated that if I can get to duel consistently, I'd have a decent chance at beating the level. October 15, 2025 seemed like it would be another day. So Form was streaming Edge of Destiny, and that motivated me to play it as well. To say this session was lucky is an understatement. When I started recording near the beginning, I died to 50% due to a bad click pattern. But then after, something weird happened. I died a few robot deaths. Then, when I passed the wave, I got past the cube again. That's crazy. What? No way. I caught a UFO attempt. then past my previous best of 79. It was quite thrilling, and I don't remember the feelings that much of how nervous I was. Would I get past the choke point that is 85? I did. But I usually tie to endings when I do runs, but not this time. I fluked Edge of Destiny from 79%. I fluked Edge of Destiny from 79%. I couldn't believe this. When I used to get very unlucky with other difficult levels, almost everything I've played, I fluked this beast. You know, in gacha, it's the equivalent of getting two 5 stars in the same pool. However, I would have said I'm the luckiest victor if three other players didn't fluke the level from the duel. But generally because of the 29 to 100 runs that I got, and then 100, I categorize myself as the second luckiest victor of the level. A couple of weeks after, Form would finally beat Edge of Destiny, and I would beat Echoes of Neon. Form is crazy, by the way. He jumped from Blade of Justice to EOD, and not just that, he beat that on 60 FPS. With CBF, sure, but that's still absolutely astonishing. Shout out for him for being a goat. I published the news on Twitter, and I uploaded the completion video with the thumbnail. It's done. I've beaten the level in under a year, but now to address the elephant in the room, the recording. Unfortunately, this fluke wasn't all gold and roses. I don't want to say much about my completion video. There are many things that I dislike about it in general. To really explain myself while also not talking about it this much, here's what ChatGPT suggested. Because recording on PC used to lag my game, I recorded the completion using my phone with a weird setup. And during the actual completion attempt, the angle ended up being worse than usual. So I was worried the record might not get accepted. But thankfully, Salift's team reviewed it and it was accepted, which I'm really grateful for. Thanks, ChatGPT. But yeah, I over the course of a year, I really struggled on how to record on PC. I couldn't set up OBS at all. However, because of this completion and its poor quality, I was so annoyed. I tried to brute force my way through using AI tools to help me set up OBS the right way. I got it. It was slightly too late. But once I was able to record, the world saw. Around a month from beating Edge of Destiny, I was going back to see how easy Blade of Justice was, and I was just passing Blade of Justice so consistently. Another day, I was watching SD Slayer 277% run on Allegiance, and I thought to myself, let's see how far I can get on Blade of Justice. I estimate EOD to be as hard as beating Blade of Justice 10 times in a row, so that was what I originally set out to do. And I also got OPS set up. And in my second run, I got 612. And I uploaded the video. Just for reference, my channel previously had 32 subs, and my best videos would be 1K views. But when I uploaded 612, I got over 8K views and now nearly 200 subs. Even many popular creators made shorts about me. That was absolutely crazy. Apparently, only one other person did Blade of Justice 5 times before me, and also Mewtwo did it with Bloodbath. But for some reason, my vid was the one that blew up in comparison to their vid. It's kind of hard to wrap my head about the attention that I was getting, especially from Blade of Justice, which was a level that I really liked. Um, yeah, thank you all, and really thankful for Allah as well. But I became to like Blade of Justice more and more in regards to both the ideas this level provokes in my head, as well as how good I am at playing it. By the time that it took me to arrange this whole video together, I wanted to beat something related to Blade of Justice. However, it's not what you're expecting. It's not Blade of Justice times 10 or a better quality repeat of Edge of Destiny. These things are very hard for the limited time I have now, and I'm not like the Bones 5 where I can just buff my hardest. However, I'm at Mosque 14142, and that means that if there's something interesting I believe I can do, I will do it. Welcome, says Speed Hack Mainlist. If you're not that familiar, speed hacking is a way to change the speed of the level, and often it's used to slow the game, but if you want to make things harder on yourself, you make the levels faster. So the demon list just tracks how fast levels people have made while also beating them. And the number one is Druife at 130% speed. Now, for me, I only care about Blade of Justice. And I originally tried beating the level faster. I got 110%. But unfortunately, the list record was 125%, the minimum allowed, by the player Krumi from 5 years ago. I wanted to try that speed long back then, but I was just like bad, and the idea just felt ridiculous for me, so I put it on the back burner. But now that I wanted to put this video out, I had the idea to see if I can beat the world record. I tried doing 130%, and while hard at first, I was pushing through, and it was exciting to learn. Yeah, I'll probably feel some imposter syndrome about using SPF and a swag route for this. Basically, in the Duel of Blade of Justice, there is a famous swag route where you skip the green orb to avoid the bug. What you might not know is that by flying close to the spikes, you can skip the mini wave entirely. Now, in the original level, this route is less consistent than simply doing the mini wave, but when the mini waves are giga buffed to 130 speed, the swag route becomes better option. Feels kinda meh, but just to also show you how I know about the level. The grind to getting the world record on Blade of Justice speed was so bad. I died 12 times to the ending and 10 to the FO, including 93 times 2 and 95 times 2. My luck! No! It's my video! However, after 5 years of the record being unbroken, on March 12, 2026, I finally got the world record, as far as I'm aware. Oh my god! Yes! 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 And it was done. I was pretty sure I was the only person who had the speed, consistency, and repeat world records on not just Blade of Justice, but on any extreme demon in the game. Don't get me wrong, Popoff and Neff, who got Slaughterhouse times 3 and VSC times 2, are hell impressive. But do they have the speed world record? No. This is some sort of selection bias, but you can probably also guess that I'm slightly obsessed with Blade of Justice, and I'm happy of how things turned out. So, I'm still aura farming on this level. Um, However, there have always been things bugging me. I want to shift focus to the future. So, what's after for me? I genuinely don't know. I sort of beaten the main level I want to beat. And for everything else, the game is so hard. Torturous extended now. What is my next hardest? At this point, I have no idea. Mainly, it's going to be nothing. Old Blade of Justice or Through the Gates. I feel like from there on, though, playing the game is a waste of time for me. There are other stuff I want to do. It would be nice if I were to verify the old version, but I feel like that is a task more suitable for AGS. Plus, the gameplay of the old version isn't that good. But the truth is also, I have much more to say and more vulnerability to show. I've been thinking a lot about how to say this. I wish I had more power in things. Bear with me, because a lot of the stuff I will say is probably in my head. I was deciding on revealing who I am, but here's so much I'm willing to show. My real life is very different from GD. I'm 20-year-old Egyptian who has gone to the US to study mathematics. I have done many insane things both academically and game-wise. I've made so many friends and experienced many things, but the truth is, it felt lonely a lot, thinking to myself what I want to do in life and what I can do in life. I've always had passions for many things, but I've always been stuck on what to do with them. Whenever I thought about BOJ and EOD, I always thought of ways to remake the levels. There were always flaws with these levels and more to notice. For instance, both levels were made in 2.1, not 2.2, and both levels were only 2 minutes long, while the song they're using is 4 minutes long. Don't get me wrong, I've seen many other good remakes of the level, such as Justice Blade and Sword of Eternity, and while these are great, I believe there can be better. I've kept thinking about how to make the extension of the remake. I've drawn many things, always done some stuff, and something about these levels, as well as many other things, have always itched my brain, always loving to hyperfixate. However, with ideas that I had, I always bounced to despair, thinking that maybe everything would go down the drain. I've always admired how creators can bring ideas to life in videos and levels. I'm not very good at that yet, but this video is my attempt. Yet it felt so vulnerable. I'd undermine myself with the thumbnail and script and video making, so on. And for Goki-san, I'd think about him, but unfortunately, he is a retired young old man. Got people like Mindcap interviewing Nighthawk 22, and I'm just sitting there. As much as envious that sounds, however, I've always done what I was capable of, but that's a fraction of what I dream of doing. I know a lot of this sounded cooler in my head, but when I say things in reality, it just comes out feeling like weird, and venting. But the truth is, Blade of Justice is cursed with the fact that the people interested in it are not doing anything mind-blowing, except perhaps those who made EOD. I'm 22 years old, and surprise, I have academia in front of me. I'm not going to be spending my time trying to beat the old version. Most I can do is beat or verify a second hard disk or beat a new hard disk by the end of the year. But after that, I'm retiring from top level play. And for my relevance as the current or best or second best Egyptian player, I'm waiting for someone to dethrone and reach much higher than me in the future, hopefully. That doesn't mean I won't still play Geometry Dash. I often have some free time to not get insane, but I want to just focus to productive things. Maybe host some levels, experiment more, play easy levels. But yeah, with what my insights wanted to say, I now want to make this no longer about me, but about the level. For Edge of Destiny, the level is now done. It's falling to top 50 soon, with over 100 victors, and the nerf version has been beaten to death. I can say that the story of Blade of Justice and Edge of Destiny are finally over, and we are all worthy of the blade, but not of its true power. There was a player in mind that motivated me, not just me, but probably others in regards to Blade of Justice and EOD. This player's name was Error, who is the most mind-blocked victor of the level. While I had my past experiences with Blade of Justice and EOD, these levels have had their histories with many other players as well. Something I wanted to arrange in one beautiful video. Without further ado, I now present to you my best creation, Edge of Destiny, Infinity %.
Hey yo, here comes the danger up in this club. When we get started, man, we ain't no stop. We gon' turn it out till it gets too hot. Everybody sing, hey yo. Tell them turn it out till they can't no more. Let's get this thing shaking like a disco ball. This is your last one and a courtesy call. Hey yo, here comes the danger up in this club. When we get started, man, we ain't no stop. We gon' turn it out till it gets too hot. Everybody sing, hey yo, tell them turn it out till they can't no more. Let's get this thing shaking like a disco ball. This is the last one and a courtesy call. I am not afraid of the storm that comes my way. When it hits, it shakes me to the core and makes me stronger than before. It's not a question about trust, but will you stand with us? Can you feel it? Make it real. Oh, I think it might wash away tonight. Awaken from this never-ending fall. It takes more than meets the eye. This war we're fighting is not just riding. Hey, oh, here comes the danger up in this club. When we get started, man, we ain't gonna stop. We gon' turn it out till it gets too hot. Everybody sing, hey, oh, don't turn it out till they can't no more. Let's get this thing shaking like a disco ball. This is your last one and a courtesy call. There's a rumble in the floor, so get prepared for war. When it hits, it'll knock you to the ground. When it shakes up everything around. But survival is a must, so will you stand with us? Can you feel it? Make it real.
Yes! Yes! Yes!
And yes, that's basically going to be the end of the video now. I've spent a lot of time working on this, and I've had a lot of anxiety of how this is going to turn out. I'll eventually post the behind the scenes of me making this video, and I'll be publishing other videos soon, like the Heisberg for Blade of Justice, as well as the 400 demons I've beaten. I could keep talking a lot more, but in essence, said everything I wanted to say. The way I write probably captures things far better than how I say them. Um, Thank you for watching the video. I'll now leave with the dedications. Peace out. Actually, I was going to leave out like an edit of the dedications and put them on the screen. But unfortunately, I don't have much time for that, nor the energy. So I just want to dedicate this to all of my family, everyone that left, including my grandmas and my cats, and all the demon lists, the communities I've met with, and then everyone who has been inspired by me and everyone who inspired me, the people I've met online, and my IRLs. This was a nerve wracking video to make, and now I can truly actually say, peace out.